to BioS3 Raw TV. I have to make this video because, fuck, some of you fucking dingleberries who like to light up the comment section with shit before you actually look into it. I'm guilty of this too, but in this case, I'm not guilty of it. I put up a video about, it was a vlog. It was called trying something different or something different. I talked about how your body, and I didn't say you can't isolate a muscle. I said you can't isolate a muscle and get that to grow over other body parts. And people were like, Jerry, you're so wrong. First of all, who the fuck are you? What kind of expert are you? Okay, you have no fucking credentials whatsoever. So I don't even fucking want to hear it. But for you dingleberries that fucking think you know better, you should have just fucking Googled or at least tried to study it before you open your fucking mouth, because now you're going to look fucking dumb. So the phenomenon is actually called... Hang on a second. I actually went to my friend Dave, Dave is a smart motherfucker. And we actually had a big discussion about this. A friend of mine, Byron, tore his bicep. And he had to have it surgically repaired. And Dave was talking to him, and the physical therapist and the doctor both told him to keep training his left side while the right side was repairing, because the right side would still get stimulus from him doing the left side. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And Dave was like, yeah, you don't remember Dorian Yates? And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, when he tore his tricep or his bicep, I don't remember which one it was, he still had like 4 weeks to train. And he had like a sling on. It was completely immobilized. They had a picture of him doing hammer strength presses. Now, one would think if these people who are lighting up my comment section like fucking hammerheads were right, one side of his body would be bigger than the other. That's not what happened. He was fucking still symmetrical through the chest, the shoulders. The arm atrophied a little bit because it was immobilized and he couldn't use it at all, and the tendon itself was torn. So it had a little bit of atrophy to it, but he maintained his size by doing one side. So now, I kind of stepped back and I was like, I didn't know Dorian did that, but I'm hearing about this stuff, and I do agree that while you're training one side, the other side does get stimulus. While you're training your back, your chest gets stimulus. Like, your body is literally contracting every muscle every single fucking time when you're doing repetitions. I don't think you realize that if you really stopped and thought about it. Even a bench press, your back is arched, your shoulders are back, everything is contracted, your core is tight, your lower back is tight, your glutes are contracted, your feet are on the floor, you should be pushing through your heels. I personally like to be pushed through my toes, but even that, you're pushing through the floor to do the bench press. Even my neck is usually tensed up, which it's bad for your neck to tense up, but the bottom line is everything contracts for you to move that fucking weight. You relax something, guess what? You're not going to fucking move the weight or you're going to get an injury. I mean, that's just how it goes, but nobody thinks of that. They just think, I'm doing chest, so I'm isolating my chest and I'm only working my chest. It's not fucking true. So let me, the theory is referred to as contralateral training or cross-education. Okay, if you Google these things, they're going to pop up. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a link in the description box below so you guys can click on this. I'm going to run through it right now. In 2004, so this is obviously not new, Journal of Applied Physiology, an intriguing story. So there was a Miss Emily Brown squeezed a rubber ball as strongly as possible with her left hand. She spent the next 13 days training her right hand, performing 10 maximal contractions each day. When the strength of her left hand was measured again on the 13th day, it had increased by 43%. So the hand that she was not training increased by 43% by training the opposite hand. This was a study that they did. This was published in 2004, but this is a study in 1984 that they were doing. Basically it says, training one side of the body does get stimulus to the other side. It says training limbs individually rather than engaging both sides together is a popular and highly beneficial training technique. Unilateral exercises are now widely recognized as an important part of any strength training routine. It says, they're going to kind of go through everything on how and why that works, but it seems logic says that if you're working both of them together, it should be stronger than one. But a myriad of studies have confirmed this phenomenon of a bilateral deficit. No one knows why this is true, which means that if you're training one side, it's actually overloading the other side also. And they're still doing, a bunch of different studies on this. And some of the studies that I looked up, which was interesting, it was so hard to fucking understand that I actually hit my buddy Dave up, who knows a lot about this stuff. I said, what do you have that I can put up here and people can understand? Because I can't fucking understand this thing one bit. I've read a few of the studies and I'm like, what the fuck? I know it works and I know doctors are recommending it, and this came from science. So all you motherfuckers out there like, Jerry, you're so wrong. It's science, bro. You don't even know science, bro. Do you even science, bro? You don't know science, bro. But anyways, so yes, if you're training one arm at a time, the other side still gets stimulus. If you're training your back, chest gets stimulus. If you're, doing like side laterals, guess what? Your fucking pecs are engaged, your back is engaged, your forearms are engaged, your neck is engaged, every muscle in your body, you're standing up, your legs are engaged, they're locked. I mean, really, next time you're doing a set of side laterals, think about what you're feeling, because there have been times where my back started to hurt, my lower back, and I realized I wasn't tensing my core while I was doing the laterals, and I was leaving that area, not flexed, and that was causing it to hurt. It was starting to kind of, I don't want to say give out, but it wasn't maximally overloaded. It was taking more of the load than it should have. When you tighten up, all of a sudden everything takes everything more equally. And yes, you are doing the movement, but you're doing basic human body movement, which all the muscles are made to make your body move. They're not made to isolate. Now, can you isolate a muscle? You can do like a concentration curl, and you'll feel it there. You'll feel that fucker burn because you're using the glycogen, which is fucking making that lactic acid burn as it gets depleted and the energy reserves start working. You're feeling that in the muscle because that's where the glycogen is coming from. But it doesn't mean that when you have a static contraction anywhere else that muscle's not being worked. Okay, it just means you're not pulling a shitload of glycogen out of it like you're doing. Like when you're training biceps, you don't pull glycogen out of your legs. When you're doing fucking legs, you don't pull glycogen out of your arms. You're pulling them out of the muscles themselves that you're working. Now, how this stuff can be applied to training, this is something that I've been doing for the last maybe 2-3 months, right up to the Shredded in 30. That whole 3 weeks I did it, and I've been with about 4 weeks I did it, and I've been doing it since. A lot of one-arm movements, a lot of compound movements that are with lighter weights, making sure everything is contracted at the same time. A lot of balance type movements. So as far as squatting, I can't squat with a bar on my back anymore because of my lower back. So I'm doing like the one-legged bench squats, the one-legged pistol squats, these one-legged things where balance comes into play. That balance, every muscle in your body is contracted. When your head is stabilized and every muscle in your body is contracted, your body increases growth hormone literally to the point. The study that was just done of, I think it was 24 studies that were linked into this one study, which Phil Hernandez brought it up. If you guys want to know more about it, hit up Phil Hernandez and look him up on Facebook. And they actually found that there was more growth hormone produced from this type of training to where it can actually be less beneficial because it's too much. They had to actually back off on some of the stability training, but you couldn't even inject as much growth hormone into your body as your body was producing during this type of training, which explains why people that do a lot of that quote-unquote core training, which is a lot of body movements and whole body movements, as well as unilateral movements, one arm at a time, one leg at a time, actually have an easier time staying lean. It actually increases your metabolism because the growth hormone is actually higher. Now, I wouldn't say it builds muscle better, but I would say that if you already have the muscle, you can train like this and you will maintain your muscle a lot better. Also, if you use progressive overload with it, you will build muscle also with it. But, the bottom line, what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is there's so much misinformation out there about how the body works, about these people like, I'm going to bring my biceps up. That ain't fucking never going to happen. They may grow bigger, but guess what? Everything else is too. So as you're taping your fucking biceps and you're not taping your shoulders, you're not realizing your shoulders they're getting bigger too. Your chest is getting bigger too. Everything is getting bigger at the same time. I go back to over and over again, muscle meets magnet. When they put the fucking MRI and the quadricep on the leg extension, that was when the quadricep was most overloaded, period. So why couldn't you get on the leg extension and do 50 sets of leg extensions a day and make your legs grow 4 inches in a couple of months and fucking wind up having quadzilla legs? Why doesn't that happen? Why can't you isolate it like that? Why does the squat and the leg press work better? Why do bodyweight squats work better? Why do lunges, bodyweight lunges, why do they work better than a leg extension for building mass? Because it's not the same type of stimulus. It's different, guys. I can't explain to you enough how little people actually know. And I'm not a fucking expert, guys. I'm no stretch of the imagination expert on this stuff, and nor am I trying to talk down to anyone. But I do realize that there's a lot more that goes into this stuff than people think. And I literally have been doing this for 25 years now, or 26. Either 25 or 26 years when I started doing this stuff. And from 17 years old, I would ask my mentors, I would ask the other guys at the gym, I would ask the people that were instructing the classes for certifications, why? I would buy the books. I would try to read the books that I didn't even understand to try to figure out why. Every time, why does this work? Why does that work? Why does this work? And eventually you get the answers. And eventually, you put it together in a way that it works right for you, your clients, you replicate it over and over again. And once you have that where you're replicating it, regardless of whether or not you understand it, you know how to apply it. And that, I feel, is the first thing that you need to do. You can try to understand all you want, but if you're not comprehending what's happening, but you're seeing it work over and over again, apply it and then try to understand it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're building muscle, hey, you're building muscle. How are you building muscle? Figure it out after you did it. I mean, it took me 15 years to figure out how training to failure worked, how to fucking put certain exercises together in certain ways, volume, all that stuff. You know, it's not just about go in the gym, lift weights, eat your food. That's very basic, but, you know, I don't want the basic results. I want the fastest results, and I want the best results that I can get in the shortest amount of time in the most efficient way that I can. That's what it's important to me, and it's always been that way. So hopefully, guys, this has been informative for you, and you understand a little more now. You click on the link, you can check that out, and you look up the terms that I just said, and you can read more about it and understand that the body doesn't build muscle like the magazines used to tell you that it did, okay? All the routines of the pros and shit, that's great, but half the pros didn't even fucking do those routines. It was written up by the magazines consistently to sell more magazines, and I've been told this personally by some of those people that were supposedly writing those articles that never wrote those articles. So beware, there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of misinformation in the forums themselves of people regurgitating shit that happened in the magazines 15 years ago. And the information that I'm talking about is out there. Just nobody's looking for it because they're satisfied with the easy way. Everybody wants the easy way. The easy way is to go in a forum. The hard way is to look up these studies that I did not understand them and try to fucking figure it out. And then work on it consistently with your fucking brain to try to figure out what the fuck is going on. That takes time, takes effort, and it's a lot of failure before you wind up getting it. And people just don't want to do it. So hopefully this will help you guys. I'm Biockickz, and I approve this message, and we're out.